Welcome to Fabulosity For You, and my name is Angie. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please click the subscribe button, then click the notification bell so when I upload videos, you'll be the first to know. Like this video and make a comment. This channel is about fashion, relationship advice, and lifestyle. And if this is not your first time visiting my channel, well, welcome back, my queens, and welcome to all of my kings. Welcome to all of my new subscribers, and welcome back to my subscribers that have been with me. Today is Wednesday. It's Ratchet Wednesday, and today I am doing the review of the 90-Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Season 8, Episode 11. Okay, so before we begin, go get your snack of choice, go get your drink of choice, and come back and sit with your girl, Angie. Text, email, call, stick a letter in a bottle, baby, and let everybody know that Angie is on the line. Okay, so we are going to get right into this. So the scene this week started off with Jasmine and Gino. And so Jasmine and Gino are in the gym. Jasmine said that she needed to work on getting her body together for the pageant. And while she's there, she feels like Gino needs to work on his middle section. She talked about Gino. Gino was like, well, I'll be working up at the top of my body and I forgot about my legs. She said, oh, you got some skinny legs. And, but I'll be working up. She said, where's your muscles? And he was being silly, And honey, she was a monster at the gym. She had these ropes and she was like, do this. And she did it real fast and all of the things. As you can see, even though she's had plastic surgery, she does work out. And so after while they were working out, Jasmine says to Gino, yeah, I got a call from the people from the pageant, and they were like, we're looking forward to you being in the show, but we never received your fees. We never received a payment. So she was like saying to herself in confessional, I hope Gino just plain forgot. But the way Gino was looking like, and he was like, well, to get everything, the papers and all your things together in order for the immigration, it skyrocketed the price. So that's our main priority. So that's where I put the money. And I mean, when I say she ripped a hole in his behind, she was like, are you kidding me? I've been sitting here doing all this work. I've been sitting here talking about this pageant, and you had no intentions on paying for me to be in the pageant. Oh my God, Gino, that's just like you. Just taking everything away. You are just being so controlling. She said, how could you do this to me? And, he was like, listen, I'm out working. Of course, I have to get the immigration papers and everything in order. And that costs, Jasmine. So we cannot do everything. And she was like, I don't even ask you for anything. All I do is clean the house up after you, cook for you, and then I have nothing else to do. And that's it. This really helped me. It helped me to take my mind off my mother being sick, off my kids, off my alopecia. And she was just too done, honey. And then after that, he was like, listen, I never did say I wasn't going to do it, Jasmine. He was like, just give me a chance to put some money together and I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, I'm ready to go. And then she just acted a fool when she said she was ready to go. She was like, I like to work out. I came here to work out. And he said, and you did work out, and now I'm ready to go. So, honey, she walked out, stormed out the gym. And then they went to this smoothie place. And so he bought her a smoothie and wanted to sit outside and drink it. And she was like, so we got time to do this. We could have stayed in the gym. She was like, I'm just tired of you. You should be at work. He said, well, I stopped working because I wanted to make sure you were straight when you got to the United States. And now you seem like you are okay, so I'm going to go back. You know what? Don't use that as an excuse. Don't use me as your excuse. You are lazy. You sit around and you fall asleep and and do stuff that's not important. And he was like, everything I do is important. I am going to go back to work. So once again, she jumped on him about not paying for the pageant. And he was like, I told you, I never said I wasn't going to pay for it. I said, let me figure out where I'm going to get the money for. And honey, she was just too through. She took her smoothie and threw it in his face, honey. It hit his shoes and clothes. And honey, she stormed off. I'm sorry. I don't know how Gino put up with that. But at the end of the day, he wanted it. He got it. He wanted a young woman, built up, pretty. He got her. Okay? And this is just a keynote for my kings out there. The older men that want these young women, they're about the money. If you don't have the money, they got a problem. And that's what's wrong with Jasmine. She married this man. She said it to him. You're an engineer. I married you for security. I shouldn't have to be worried about this money. And so, he about to go back to work because he got to keep her happy. When you marry these young women, that's what happened. You got to have that M-O-N-E. Why, baby? Ain't nothing going on but the rent. Jasmine said, you got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. Nothing going on but the rent. He better get on back to work. Okay, so that's how that ended. Next, we're going to talk about Ed and Liz. Okay, so Liz, she has been gone away for 2 weeks. She's been with her daughter. And so it was time to take her daughter back home because the father has custody. And she was like, I'm so sorry how things went. She was like, are you upset about what happened with Ed? She was like, I'm okay. And she was like, okay. So she sends her daughter back home. And she was like, she is not ready to face Ed because she still has to get her clothes and all her belongings. I don't know where she's going. She may be staying with friends. But of course, Liz doesn't have a place of her own. And so she ends up, she tried to keep it together for her daughter. Okay, so she puts her daughter on the plane. As soon as she gets into the car, honey, she is crying. She is boo-hooing. I mean, snot running out her nose. And she called her mom and said, I'm just so embarrassed. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't believe he did me like this. And mom was like, it's going to be okay. What else can she say? So, Ed, on the other hand, is wondering when is she going to get the rest of her belongings. And he's going on with his life. He's started his real estate journey. And he said he'll be lying if he said he did not miss Liz, but he does not regret the decision that he made to move on. And so, meanwhile, I just feel like Liz, she let herself go with Ed. She gained weight. She just let herself go. She just let everything go, really. She had a job at one point. She had an apartment. And she did all of this for a man that broke up with her 14 times. And so hopefully this time she gets it. And she should feel crazy for keep crying over somebody that's not crying for you. So I'm just headed with Liz. I don't really feel sorry for her because she brought that on herself. She knew who this man was. When somebody show you, kings and queens, when a person show you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't sit up and keep going back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She went back 14 times. So girl, you really need to work on yourself and your self-esteem. So I'm done talking about them because I've had it. Next, we're going to talk about Patrick and Thais. So it's Thais' birthday, and she dropped her. Patrick last week dropped her back to the apartment. And so he went to go get John, and they went for drinks and drinking. And Patrick's just telling what's going on, giving him a recap of what's going on in Brazil, how her dad was acting. And he was like saying, it's like he want me to kiss the ring. And he was like, oh no. John was like, we don't kiss no rings in this family. But, I mean, Patrick understands that he's going to have to ask again for Thais' hand to her father. But he's just not ready to do it. He wants to get to know him, and he wants to do it on his own terms. And Patrick was cool with that. But then he starts telling Patrick about John about what's going on with Thais, that she is tripping with the dad, saying the father's using him and all of the things. And John pretty much agrees with Thais. And so he said, well, maybe if I come, because John doesn't have a hotel, and so he's going to have to stay with Thais and Patrick. And so he figured if he gets on Thais' side about the father, then maybe they can get along, and maybe that'll give him some points. So after they talk and after they have a couple of drinks, they go and break the news to Thais that John doesn't have a hotel and John's going to need to stay. So Patrick comes in and John comes in, and Thais is like rolling her eyes and it's like, wow, what is he doing here? So Patrick breaks down the news that John doesn't have his hotel room right now. John is saying he only needs 2 days, but y'all know John not getting a hotel. And so Thais is really upset because she feels like it's her birthday. He left her to go to John, and now John has to stay with them. So she's pretty pissed, to say the least. And Patrick understands. He knows that she's upset about it. But hey, it's his brother. So what are they going to do? So the following day, they're supposed to go to the father's ranch. And it's like as soon as they get there, the father greets them. Hey, da-da-da. And then says, oh, by the way, Patrick, I need some work done around the ranch. And John is like, I see what Thais is talking about. But Patrick is saying, hey, I love my father and I don't mind doing things. But at the end of the day, I think his father is a user. And I understand he wants this relationship with his father, but he should not be buying his father's love. If anything, the father was out of his life and should be making amends with him. But, you really can't tell people what to do when it comes to their parents or their spouses. Okay? So we just have to wait and see what happens next week. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Alex and Lauren. Again, their storyline is just dragging. Lauren comes home. She's been in a hotel for 3 days. She comes home to see her babies. And she's like, babies, babies, come here, babies. Give me a hug. Give me a kiss. Oh, my God. Anyway, her mom's at their place, and her mom's been helping out. And they also later, Alex invited some of the family over, some type of holiday that they're celebrating. And Lauren is happy her mom's there. She's feeling kind of a certain way because she can't help around the house. But it is what it is. She had surgery and she continues to say, hey, it was my decision to have this surgery. So the mother is like, she tells her mother how she's been in pain. And the mother's like, well, hey. And she was like, but I got my chin. I don't have the double chin. And so her mother was like, well, I couldn't tell the difference whether you had a double chin or not. Your chin looked the same to me. So mom was throwing daggers at her daughter because deep down she's pissed that she had this surgery when she have children. It's really, to her, it didn't seem like it was necessary. Later that day, in front of all the family, Lauren was telling everybody that pain would be this bad and she's been suffering. And her mother was like, well, you the one that decided to have the surgery, so guess what? Quit complaining. And she felt a certain way again because her mother threw another jab at her. And so she excused herself from the table. And so that's how that ended. At the end of the day, she had all her surgery at once, and the mother was happy about that, said that was smart. But I don't know how she didn't know it was going to be a lot of pain. You having multiple surgeries on different parts of your body. But at the end of the day, that's what she wanted. I feel like to each his own. And I'm like them. You the one wanted this, so quit complaining. Next, we're going to go over to Emily and Kobe. Okay, so last week it ended where the mother was upset about Kobe's family when they are talking about asking for a dollar amount for their daughter, Emily. She didn't like when they used the word property. And it continues this week where she's still saying, I just feel uncomfortable about the word property. I just don't like that word. What are you talking about? Are you saying that what are you guys going to do with her? She's your property? And Kobe was kind of getting, he was like running out of patience because this is just tradition. This really don't mean nothing. He going back home to the United States. They are already married. They already have children. So what are you talking about, ma'am? What are you talking about? And so he's like, no, we're just saying that if something were to happen to her, we're going to take care of her. She's going to be like our family. If she dies, we're going to sit up and bury her. We're going to pay for her burial. It's just, we're going to make sure she's good. If she needs anything, the family will be there for her. It's nothing to it. And she was like, well, Emily, how do you feel about the word property? And Emily was like, I'm all right. Because at the end of the day, this is just a cultural thing. And we're just following tradition. I mean, so her mother was like, well, is that mean I'm not going to be able to have my rights with them? Am I not going to be able to, and basically boss them, be in their business? Because she treats Kobe like property. Kobe had to work that farm. I think if Kobe wanted to move out of that basement, they wouldn't have it. I think that the mother is very controlling when it comes down to Emily and the children. And so she got a lot of nerve asking a whole lot of questions. My thing is, her mama should have done her research. They all should have done their research. You knew doggone well you was coming to Cameroon. And if you knew you was coming to Cameroon, you know doggone well you should have looked up their culture. And then you wouldn't have all these crazy questions. I don't have a problem with them asking questions. But the bottom line is they're already married. Right now, today, they have 3 children. What is the problem? the mama just got on my nerves. And so moving right along, after he finally said, after Kobe finally explained it the way she felt comfortable with, then she said it was okay. And the next step was the father asked the family for the price. He gave them the list of the things that they wanted. The next step was to eat the food that Emily prepared. They were very nice. They said the food was so good. The mother even said the food tastes better than some of the women that's been in Cameroon for a long time. And so Emily was really happy, and Kobe was really happy that everybody was happy and things are going just as planned. And so next step will be the wedding, and he just hopes that his friends come around like his family did and come to the wedding. And so that's how that ended. Okay, next we're going to talk about, I guess this is the last, no, we're going to talk about Ashley and Manuel. So it starts off where Ashley is running to her friend's establishment, and she's like, I need my witch potion. Sounding like a fool. I need my witch potion, which is intravenous therapy, IV treatment is all that it is. And she feels like after arguing with Manuel and the family, she needed to rejuvenate herself. And so she calls it her witch potion. So she explains to her friend that Manuel and her agreed that they would send the family $200 per month. And out of nowhere, Manuel has been asking for more money. Recently, she said he just told her, listen, I need more money for my family. And that was it. He didn't say why or any of that. And so her friend was like, well, did you give him the money? And she said, yeah, I sent him $1,000 for the family. And her eyes got real big, and so did mine. I'm like, why would you send $1,000? It was crazy to me. Because ain't no way in the world I'm going to send this man's family $1,000. And you don't know why. And y'all are not getting along. Girl, bye. Who do that? A woman that's trying to hold a man. And so the friend was like, well, maybe you need to get a post number, because you don't know what this man is doing with this money, what his intentions are. Your communications aren't good. And so Ashley was like, you're right. I don't know what's happening. He's just he's distant. He doesn't tell me what's going on. He holds secrets. But I really think if I tried to talk about the post note, it might really upset him and make him even more distant to me. And so her friend convinced her that you need to do what you got to do, honey. So she takes him out to dinner. Ashley takes Manuel out to dinner, and lunch or whatever, and they're eating, and she brings it up. And he's like, what? Now, he can't understand a whole lot, but he understood that post number. She gonna explain it like he didn't know what it was. He knew what it was. He gave her fever. He was like, okay, so you trying to say you don't trust me. What kind of marriage do we have? But he said after all the back and forth, he agreed to see a lawyer. And so she didn't appreciate that he was giving her pushback, but she was glad that he did agree to see the lawyer. But let me tell you something. Ashley is trying to hold Manuel, honey. She acting like Manuel is the prize. Manuel is not, I guess he can't work right now, so he's not bringing in any income. He is already every minute on his cell phone. He walks away every 2 seconds from arguments. He is just not behaving like a man that truly want to be married. But at the end of the day, as I said before, she She put her own self in that because she saw the red flags and she didn't stop. My kings and my queens, when you see the red flag, you stop. And so people think they can change a man or change a woman after they get married. Who they are before you get married is who they are when you get married. And nothing changes. If anything, it may get worse because now they have you. So, I don't know. All I know is Ashley needs to quit acting like she a witch when she can't see her own future. When she can't see in them cards, as I said last week, that her marriage is a no-go. But she handed him that $1,000. I really didn't think she needed a prenup because next week we're going to find out when they go to the lawyers that this woman is $100,000 in debt. Now, if you got debt like that, what do you need a prenup for? Quit giving him money. That's how you stop all that. Quit giving him money. You don't have to send no money down to his family. You could have said, hey, we'll do that when you start working. You didn't have to give him $1,000. You did all of that because you know he mad at you. So it sounds like to me Ashley is desperate to keep her marriage. And that's just not the way to do it, to be giving your money up and then you talking about it with your friends and you feeling a certain way. So that's how that ended. We're going to see next week, as I said, what happens when she goes to the lawyer in all of the things. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to be talking about Michael and Angela. Okay, so Angela this week is still waiting for Michael to give her the 411 on what happened when he went to the immigration. As like I said, she was chain smoking, she was drinking beer, burping, and all of the above, honey. Shaking her legs, just nervous. So Michael finally walks, and he's, looking cool, but he looking like things didn't go well. So she jumps up and she said, Michael, what happened, Michael? And he was like, I did not get it. And she was like, Michael, what, Michael? I've been nervous, what? I did not get it. And she was like, oh my, what did you do, Michael? And he was like, don't worry, who doing, baby? And she just clowning and acting a fool. If I would have went with you, I know you probably said the wrong thing. What happened? So she finally calms down. And honey, he slipped up and said, well, if it didn't happen here, he changed the next meeting to another city. And he has to wait 1 or 2 weeks before he goes there and they, I guess, interview him or whatever. And she was like, okay, well, go back. Who changed it? You or him or me? You or them? And she said, he said, I changed it. And she said, we didn't discuss this. No wonder they didn't approve you. That's not how you do things. You run it by me. But honey, he was like, no, it's okay, baby. And so I had to stop and say to myself, this man is very calm and he acting like he know what he's talking about. So who have Michael been talking to? It sounds like Michael been talking to his people. And they telling him, hey, you might can't get it there. If you don't get it there, go here. You got a better chance. And so he sounded like he didn't look like he was upset or any of that. He seemed like he knew what he was talking about and he knew what was going to happen. And we do know today that Michael is in the United States. So she was like, 2 weeks? I can't stay no 2 weeks. He said, you go home, I stay. And honey, that just really made her feel. She was like, what? What did you say? You don't never know what to say to me, Michael. You saying you'll stay here by yourself and let me go? Honey. Angela went off. So she called her daughter, and her daughter was like, Mama, Micah ain't trying to go home with you. Micah ain't trying to do that. So Angela was so upset. She was like, these are red flags. I should have seen these red flags. And they are red flags. They are definitely red flags because Michael is working with someone. Okay? And when Michael got to the United States, because let's just keep it, keep it all the way 100, he's here. We know he's here in the United States. And evidently, I'm just going to break it down. These Nigerians, they have a lot of people over in the United States, and they sit up and when they get here, they find the other Nigerians, and they come together and they help each other and all of that. They help each other get jobs. They help each other get on their feet. So they have a really good organization for the Nigerians when they come here. They really help each other. So Michael is going to he got into the United States, and from what I understand, he already left Angela. And I really don't blame him because she treated him like trash. As I said last week, a lot of these women, they go over to these other countries and they bring these men back so they can boss them around, be the boss, treat them like garbage, and I guess have good sex. So Angela got her hands full, honey. So we have to see what happens next week. That's all I have. And thank you for watching my channel.